Hey guys, welcome to the Heart of David. Hope you guys are all doing well today. The video that I made yesterday, I thought to myself when I woke up today, I'm like, did I say too much? A testimony is a testimony, and I don't want to scare people. That's not what I want to do. I want to talk about God. My journey, my personal journey has been about a lot of physical and mental suffering. And that's just the way it is. And sometimes I want to talk about those things. And it's not like I don't, I had another channel. I still have that channel that I was talking about, the physical difficulties that I face. It's pretty substantial to take care of and to experience. But I didn't want to make an entire channel around that. I won't be making as many uploads. I'm still on my Christmas break, and I go back for my, it's called Module 3. It's like, it's unlike a regular university. I mean, some universities are like this, but where, I don't have like 5 or 6 classes. I have 2, but they're a lot more intense. And they're worth each 3 credits. So you'd have usually like 6 classes. These are worth 3 credits each. So, so I start again very soon. So if I don't do as many uploads, you know why. But I want to continue talking about suffering in God. I have kidney colic today again. Sometimes I wake up that way. I never know how I'm going to wake up. I never know what's going to happen. And usually it's going to happen in my abdomen. And, 90% of the time that's what it's going to be. I can tolerate the other things because they don't go wildly up and down. They just don't. Sometimes I do, if I have a big pain flare, but in any case. I want to talk about 3 different times that I went through something. And you know what? I don't say, God, why me? Right? Why me? Why do I have to go through all this? And yes, that's what I wanted to talk about. When you ask the Spirit and He reminds you. So if you forget something, ask the Spirit, in a genuine way. Do it. Say, Spirit, please remind me what it was I was thinking about anything, but especially in the Lord. I find that works almost every single time. In any case, if I think about my suffering, okay? And I hope to speak to both people who are suffering physically and mentally. And guys, those are 2 of the same things. Two sides of the same coin. I know in my heart that if it wasn't for my pain beginning back in 2004, and I didn't quit abusing drugs. I was a big addict to benzodiazepines. I got addicted to them because I had a panic attack when I was 17, and I went to it was binge drinking, like a lot of people were doing at that time. I'm not trying to justify, but it really was that way. And I was on psychiatric medications that were stuff that I never wanted to be on in the first place. And they interacted. And I was overdosed. Just, like adverse effects, really bad effects. I was having just persistent panic attacks. I ran home that day, literally ran home, about 1.2 kilometers or something like that. My mom took me to the hospital, and I got a Valium that day. I thought, oh, my problems are solved when I got that. In any case, I never abused them, but I always had them on me. And 6 years I was on them. And that was Valium to clonazepam. Clonazepam is very strong compared to the others. And I may have taken a few extra times where things went real bad, but I didn't abuse them, though. I just didn't. I didn't know what they were. There wasn't a lot of information then. This was in the 1990s. Pardon me. I'm going to talk about 3 times that I suffered, and I'm going to tell you about what I think they mean, and you can apply this to the suffering that you've been in your life. Did you ever feel that you went through things, mentally or physically, that were so heavy, that were so severe, and no one was there with you to help you, but you notice that other people who go through those same types of things do get help, with the people around them? If you ask me, I think that God makes that happen, and I'll tell you why. In any case, so I was living at home, and by the time I realized that there was a problem in my life, I'd gone through some stuff in my earlier years, and I knew I wanted off Valium because I thought it was a problem. And I remember I told my doctor, and I said I want to come off, and they didn't tell me that they didn't tell me all the information of things that would happen. And I'm not kidding you, it's the hardest medication in the world, drug, anything. Illegal drug, prescription drug, because it's a prescription drug, of all of them to come off. Because you'll have up to, if you go look, there could be up to 500 symptoms. And you'd have, at one time, 50 to 75 simultaneous symptoms. It's not a joke. It's called the benzodiazepine with protracted withdrawal phenomenon. It's so severe. So I did that for a month. I just took everything away. My doctor's like, good for you. It doesn't give me any information. And I did it in the hospital because I needed help. Well, I had met someone else while I was in there who happened to have a whole lot of them, and that's when my addiction began. And that's all I'll say about that. I took them in a bid to stop what I was going through, and I wasn't informed. That could have helped me, but I'm not blaming. I'm not going to put that blame, okay? But I'm saying that would have helped me know. I just remember taking the first one and being like, I can stop this right now. So I became a major benzodiazepine addict. It was horrific. I went through, I don't know what it was, maybe 100 short-term withdrawals, about 8 days each time. I would use it for 2 weeks. I would abuse it for 2 weeks. And after the 2 weeks, it would quit on me. I'd go through a withdrawal, and I'd do it all over again. I did that for a number of years. So when I got pain from that medication I told you about a few years after those events, I quit altogether. I didn't have to go to AA, I didn't have to go to NA, I didn't have to do any of those things. Quite strange, it happens to people. But I realized that it had to stop to control my pain. So, if it wasn't for my pain, I may have been led to hell, or I may have had not the nicest pathway. I always question myself and say, did God give me pain? Did God put me in a position that I got this pain from that antidepressant that I took, called phenylzine Nardil, to take me off of that pathway? You have no idea the depths of God and the reasons that He does things. You know, when you look back at your life, and you can finally step back and look and say, maybe this is what happened. It makes sense, because if I would have kept going that way, it would have, who knows what would have happened. Do you ever notice that when people need your help, you're there, if something serious happens to someone, you're right there. And I don't mean people pleasing. I mean like you're doing the right thing, right? Stop people pleasing. But do the right thing. If someone's really in trouble and need, go help them, if you have the means. I noticed that when I got into similar things, that maybe because they hadn't been through it, they just, in any case, I don't feel like people were really there, except for one particular person, and I won't go into depths into that. Certainly, like, I'm not talking about like when I lived at home. So I'm going to get into this. I never understood why certain things happened to me. Okay? I never understood why. When this happened to me, I really wonder, I'm like, I don't know if I should get this because I have a spinal disease, and what if it does something to my nervous system, and I'm already hypersensitive, and I called the pharmacy ahead of time, I called a whole bunch of places, they said you'll be fine, and then I got it, and then bam, it affected my heart. I didn't get my heart imaged till later. I had every single indication that it was my heart, likely myocarditis. I couldn't breathe. That's how I woke up that morning. Had a fever. I had a rash for 6 days in my abdomen, my neck. It was a pretty big rash. So there were a lot of things that pointed me towards that. I had trouble walking, not like the disease that I have that mixed. It was different. Something happened. And every time I walked at certain, if I tried to extend myself by going out for walks, I felt like I was going to faint and fall asleep on the freaking ground. It was like no one was paying attention to me. I was going to doctors. I was doing so many things, but there was only so much I could do. I was in so much agony. Got my heart imaged only about a year afterwards, because I was focusing on the severe abdominal pain that it had caused me. And anyways, I was put through hell. About 30 hospital visits. 30. They got the diagnosis wrong, and I was the one who pointed it out to them on a piece of paper of their own. In any case, a hyper gallbladder, very, very uncomfortable. one of the reasons I can't stand fear. So, you know, and no one else goes through this that I know of. Why do I have to go through this? Give me a sec, my throat. I don't actually feel comfortable making these videos, you know. I want to talk about my suffering and like last summer, two more things. Last summer, I woke up and it was 10 o'clock in the morning, okay? And the reason I woke up, that was when I was waking up at a later time. It was 10 o'clock and I'd woken up because I knew there was something wrong. And I felt like a wave of nausea come over me, like over my stomach. And I heard something go across my stomach, just like this, I don't know, huge wave of nausea. And when it happened twice, I felt a big wave of nausea. I'm like, okay, try to keep going to sleep, and maybe it's nothing. But then it kept going, and then I'm like, whoa, man, I'm gonna vomit. Like, what's going on? I immediately got up, got to the edge of my bed. I was extremely sick. I didn't know what was happening, and I vomited on my floor, and it was a color of like bile, like unusual. It shouldn't be that color, okay? But I didn't know that at the time. I found myself in a lot of trouble because the thoughts that were going through my mind were like, if I can't take my opiate in the morning, I'm damned. Like, both from my abdomen, my shoulder, my neck, my legs, my back, many different spots in my body. If I can't get this, I'm in trouble. This has never happened before. So that's why it's probably good to have a patch, I guess, just in case, but I didn't. And I remember coming to my counter and getting my pain dose, swallow it, and I brought it up right away. It was a waste of a good long-acting opiate. Took another one, same thing. I'm like, wow, man, this is it. Like, called my dad, told him what was happening, and I said, I'm gonna call the ambulance. I couldn't even wait for him if he would have taken me, but ambulance came. I had no pain medication. I had at least the stomach flu, okay? At least the stomach flu, but there was something else. And I knew that I was going to be in there, you know, who knows, maybe overnight, maybe who knows, for a week. And what do you do when you're in that state? When I wake up, sometimes, you know, I'm like, I have to wait for those meds to kick in, both for my abdomen and for my body, or I'm in a lot of trouble. And walking, it's going to be very hard. It really is that way for me. The only thing that I could do, I called the ambulance, and because I needed emergency medication. I got my medications all together in that state, moving around my house, just putting everything together. While you're vomiting, you know, I kept going to the bathroom over and over and over. They came, and on the way, I was doing the same thing. I just remember being in the ambulance and like adhesive arachnoiditis. I'm thin and like I'm I can't even sit on the stretcher. I'm like, try to lie back. No, I can't do it. I want to vomit. Get up. I can't describe to you the discomfort. So I get there. I'm waiting, and they put me in a hallway, and I'm there for about 20 minutes. I have no idea why they're leaving me there in that state, but I've seen people go and they can't know for certain what it is you're going through. It could just be a kidney stone. Not to say that's light, but it's common. 10% of people. It could be a gallbladder attack. It could be a lot of other things. So just give me a little break here. Don't worry, I have a message within this. I'm trying to eat too. You don't have food. There was no food in me, so I didn't have energy. My sleep meds were still working, and I didn't have my pain meds, and I was acutely ill. It was something I didn't know what it was. So I couldn't even really talk or even call to people. It's like, if you're going to do it one time. It's going to waste all your energy. That's what it was like. Finally, they brought me in. They brought me into the cubicles, and they got me to sit in a chair. I mean, they put me in pretty fast, 20 minutes, where they can further look at you, right? And so I tried to sit in the chair, and there was just no way. I'm like bending over, I'm holding my abdomen. Then I get on my knees, and I'm putting my head on the chair, and I'm groaning so loud. And they finally give me a room because they notice, this isn't normal. And as soon as I go in the room, I'm vomiting all over the floor. And I think about 3 different times. And then from there, they gave me a shot of opiate. I think it was like Dilaudid or something. And an anti-nauseant. And that's where it stopped. The vomiting anyways. My legs began to hurt in a way that not even an opiate withdrawal and my spinal disease, adhesive arachnoiditis, has ever caused me. It was so bad that I was having to punch my legs. I didn't know what it was. I found out later what it probably was, but then my dad comes in, okay? Glad to have my dad there. And he starts punching my legs because I'm asking him to. I don't know what this is. So I don't even remember having a CT scan, but I had one done. And 2 doctors came back to me too. I've never had 2 come back to me. And they said, we see your stomach is inflamed. You have, you have the stomach flu, okay? And I thought, okay, well, there's an answer. You don't want to go through the stomach flu, man. I'd rather have the flu 4 times over than have the stomach flu again. Had it a couple times in my life. And they said, and I didn't really think about it all that much because I was so sick, and the anti-nauseant was making me like this. He said, you have intussusception. And certainly my dad knew what that was because he's a doctor. But they said, we have to keep you here and do another one. Do another CT scan in a while. I had the next one done, and they said it appears that it's gone. So I'd woken up that morning because, they don't even know. I can only take my guesses. I don't want to make it too long, but intussusception is like 1 in 500,000 people, 2 in 1 million in adults. Like, it just shouldn't happen. I went home. So like, what the heck, right? What the heck, right? This has been the story throughout my life. And I come back here, and I'm like, I get scared. Like, make sure you wash your hands. Make sure you wash all your foods all the time. I don't mean like obsessive. Just making sure you wash your hands every time you touch something that could be, put your hand on the floor, wash your hands. Like I made sure to do that afterwards. That would have been bowel death right there. That could have been death. That's what I was facing that day. And the intussusception would have been causing that leg pain. What is intussusception? It means you're, for some reason, usually cancer. I don't have cancer. Your bowel, it has little muscles, okay, all on the bottom, and they contract and they make food move along. Intussusception means that, like somewhere along the way, like I don't know, if like a piece of food or something sticking up in your bowel, maybe a scar, it makes your bowel fold in on itself like a telescope. So that's what happened. Any case, I wonder why. Well, like why? Why do these things? Why does it? Here's my thing. Why do I have to go through the toughest things? That's what I ask myself. It's not that I go through pain in my life. It's the level of pain. You get my point, right? I'm going to bring you to another one, and then I'm going to say something and read a scripture. Sometimes I wonder if it was God. I know it's God in part. But I was already born again and saved. I wasn't going to go off the path. But who knows the reasons why he does it? Did he put me in that much pain? Like, I was helpless, man. I was helpless. I couldn't take my meds. That's a big deal when you have just one of my conditions is equal to terminal cancer pain without opiates. And that day it was. And I go through some times with pain flares that it is that way. That's why I say it's called the disease of no hope, and the disease, the devil's disease. It's literally called that, or that was the nickname. Mostly when there wasn't treatment like today, but it's still progressive. It's scar tissue in your spine that just keeps building and building, and then it chokes out your nerves of your spine. God did a miracle in my life. I'm walking really well, biking, doing all those things. Glory to God. Give me a little rest here, okay? Give me about 10 seconds, and then I'm going to talk about my face. Does God put us, as far as physical things go, I've told you that I've been through the most heavy pains a human being can go through, and I meant that. And I don't boast in that. I wonder if God has done that throughout my life to make me into who I am today. So when I go to a nursing home or wherever I go, there's not something that I can't empathize with. That's what I wonder. I don't know. So sorry, it didn't happen the past summer. It was the summer before that with my abdomen. This summer that just passed, I'd gone to a dentist appointment for a cleaning of my teeth. And the hygienist said to me, she said, why don't you just go for dentures? Those would probably really help you. And I didn't want to get implants because I have like a CRPS like pain disorder, and there's warnings about getting drilling in your mouth, because you can get drilling in your mouth and all of a sudden you'll have facial pain for the rest of your life. No thanks. I already have trigeminal neuralgia, all the time, episodically. No thank you. I thought, okay, maybe those would be good. And so I made an appointment and I said, I'm just going to go through this. I'd already got my teeth done, all my teeth done. But once they fix them, they're worked on. They're not as good as they used to be. So, like there's my things right there. Okay. So I decided to go through with it, just finally get it done. I'm well enough, let's do it. But it requires, they said, you're going to have to get 4 good teeth pulled. Good teeth. Ones that have been worked on, but they won't hold up to hold the denture properly. I still had a choice if I wanted to keep them. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to go with this, and I'll have a full set of teeth. So I went to the appointment, and I got those 4 teeth pulled. Those are never an issue to me. They don't hurt, you have some blood in your mouth and whatever. You wait for some things to heal, and so the idea is you put the dentures in right away, same day dentures. I didn't want to go the route of waiting for it to heal and putting them in. I wouldn't be able to chew my food, it just doesn't make sense. So I put the dentures in. I noticed I'm starting to feel really uncomfortable with them all. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on here? And I'm having trouble with my abdomen, guys. About a day and a half into it, the freezing starts to go away. Certainly the second day, I'm like, my face, man, I can't put these things on. It really hurts. You have these new holes, in your gums, and the one that they took out in particular, up here, your incisor, your sharp. Oh, sorry, it was back from that, but still, it was the longest tooth root of them all. It's very close to your sinus too. It didn't puncture my sinus, but we didn't know. I started to develop, I'm like, I can't even wear these. Like, how do people do this? And it wasn't normal. So something was beginning to happen, and I didn't know what. I tried to keep them in my mouth to get used to them, because they're supposed to shrink with them, and then they do refits. Got a piece. So on the second day, my face was really hurting, and to a degree that would put most people in the hospital. I remember going to sleep so I got it done, and then I woke up the next day, and that night I got to sleep. I woke up early in the morning, and my face, ice picks in my face. It was like acute sinusitis and also ice picks. And they were all throughout my mouth. And I didn't know what was happening. What is this? I kept looking to see what it could be. I called the dentist office a number of times. And I thought, okay, I think I found what it is. It could be dry socket. And dry sockets supposedly a very painful thing to go through, but it didn't fit with my whole picture. It was my gums everywhere. It was like in every gum. It was like an ice pick in every single tooth area. It was a nightmare. I had pain all over my head, everywhere. It wasn't like trigeminal neuralgia. It was worse. And so I found a story that was exactly the same as mine. And it was a guy who had gone through, and it was a mouth infection. A mouth infection is a horrific thing to go through. I couldn't find a lot of stories of people going through the same thing. Go look on Reddit, you'll probably find that story. How painful is a mouth infection? And it wasn't caused by an abscess. I didn't have anything wrong. It was the process of what they did. It just brought about an infection. I'd never been through anything like this. It was so bad. For at least 7 days, my face was like that. I was calling them over and over. And again, I felt like I was completely on my own. This was like, there's no explanation to this. The most painful pain that you can have in your face, like imagine trigeminal neuralgia, but in every single tooth, plus sinusitis in your face, up here, and just your whole head. I was in ruins, man. I'm like, I feel damned. This was a bad decision to do. You know, I'm trying to make, like my hygiene better, have a full set of teeth, and it seems whatever I do in my life, I just keep getting hurt for doing the right things. So there it is. I'll stop there. I find that, if I called my brother or I called whoever when I was in a time of trouble, I found that they didn't know what to say or do or didn't answer me. I'm sure you felt the same if this is resonating with you. And so maybe they just don't know what to say, right? But still. I just found that in times of not emotional trouble, but in times of physical trouble, and I'm not talking. You heard the three things that I just told you. Those three physical things. Each of them was very substantial, right? And I found that people were lacking in my life, and I did reach out. That's what people are like. But then I thought, maybe it was just, I'm not saying God wants to hurt me, no. Like I said, maybe he wants me to empathize with other people. But I say, God, please stop doing this to me, I understand. Maybe that's the reason. But maybe God also wanted me just to call on him. And I did. I did call on him. Just give me a second. I'm going to finish this off with the scripture. Hello? All right. I don't remember. Is that it? Okay. Yeah. No. I couldn't remember what I ordered. So. Yeah, I know what it is now. Okay, yeah, sounds good. Okay, bye. Yeah, I don't want to have my conversations on my videos, but It's my anti-colic medication, which I could really use one right now. So I'm going to have to end this because it's outside my building, but see if I can read this quick. Well, in any case, I'll read it, but I don't like being interrupted. Maybe it was God wanting me to call on him. You know, it reminds you of that's what you should do. You know, there are times when we fall off the path, right? I don't mean like fall away. That's not what I mean. But, you know, things might be looking good in your life and you might forget to call him as much. I don't think that's it, but I know that does happen. After the things I do tell you about the things I've been through, I don't ask for these things, man. I don't ask for these to happen. They just do. So I want to read a psalm. Can you guess what psalm it is? Psalm 91. And I will have to answer my door. All right. Safety of abiding in the presence of God, although that's not the real, there's no title in the Bible of that. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in him I will trust. Surely he shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night. That's what I forgot to add. Through this, of course I was thinking about God. God was the only one I could really hold on to, right? Nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your right hand, and 10,000 at your right, but it shall not come near you. Only with your eyes shall you look and see the reward of the wicked. I'm just letting him in. Because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. This is what Satan used against Christ. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra. The young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot, because he has set his love upon me. Therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble, and I will deliver and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. Trust God, no matter what it is that you go through. Those are very descriptive things. Those were things that I went through that were very, very hard things to go through. And when everyone else fails you, I'm not saying that people failed me, but sometimes people are just not there in your hardest times. You probably know what I mean. Most born again believers have felt this, and so my door's about to be knocked on. So God bless, guys. Have a good day. Yeah, I think I'm done talking about illness, but I know there's people out there that watch me who are ill, so I can empathize with you.